Hi, it's Alan from InsureYourCompany.com, CG Benefits Group. So here's the situation. I was doing a video for one of my clients to explain the benefits to their employees. And I'm doing the video and I'm reviewing it, and I'm thinking that, you know what? Maybe a lot of the people that I'm talking to don't understand some of the words that I utilize to explain the benefits. They're insurance words that I hear and talk about and read about all day long, but maybe you don't understand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain about 20 terms that might help you in understanding your health insurance. And they're pretty generic words, but let me go through and let me see how we can help you out. The first one is access fee, also called copay. That's a specified dollar amount to be paid by an insured person to a provider towards covered expenses. Well, if you go to the doctor in-network, he's going to charge you a copay or an access fee. So that would be what a copay is, the amount you pay an in-network provider. Now, a lot of times an in-network provider is a primary care physician, and I have an explanation for that. But it could be a primary care physician also, and that copay could be a different amount. So we'll go over that. Oh, here's a good one. COBRA. It's not a snake. Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act. This is a federal law that basically says if you work for a company and you're let go, fired, laid off, leave, you have the right to take or utilize their health benefits, their health plan that they have. And this is not some special plan or COBRA. It's the health plan that they currently have that you'll have to pay for. Your employer is not going to be paying for this anymore if you leave, or your ex-employer. So COBRA is just the law that the federal government instituted so you can have a plan if you're no longer employed by the person you're employed by. Coinsurance. The portion of covered expenses a covered person must pay in addition to any co-payments, access fees, or deductibles. Well, it's usually a percentage, and it could be 100% where you pay nothing. It could be 80%, which means you're paying 20%. Or it could be 60 or 70% where you're paying either 40 or 30. So after a deductible is met, there's usually a coinsurance. And this is the percentage you would pay until your maximum amount that is set in your contract you have to pay. I hope that's a little clear. But your coinsurance kicks in after your deductible. This has nothing to do with your access or copay. This has nothing to do with that. If you go to a doctor, you pay the copay. Usually outside the doctor's office, you're subject to a deductible and then a coinsurance. And the coinsurance would be the percentage of the negotiated rate that you're responsible for. Deductible. I should have done deductible first because now it'll be a little bit more clear. A deductible is let's get the official one, the amount of covered expenses that a covered person must incur in a calendar year and is responsible to pay before the insurance company will pay a certain amount of covered expenses. So again, this is outside the doctor's office. If your plan has a deductible, you would be responsible for that amount, $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, before the coinsurance becomes available to you, before the insurance company will pay anything. It's deductible. It usually works with the coinsurance. And again, a lot of plans, this is outside the regular copay. Okay. High deductible health plan, HDHP. A high deductible health plan is a type of insurance that typically consists of lower premium, higher deductible, and no co-payments. All expenses incurred are credited towards the deductible until it is met. Okay, so if you have one of these HDHP, high deductible health plans, say it's a $2,500 or $5,000 deductible. After you've paid that deductible, then usually everything would be covered at 100% coinsurance, or you would pay zero. So that's basically what a high deductible health plan is. Effective date. The date your health insurance becomes effective. Well, that's pretty clear, but depending upon if your coverage is an annual max by policy or by calendar year, that would come into effect. That would be important, and also the effective date would let you know when your open enrollment period is to make any sort of changes on your plan. Eligible dependent. A dependent, usually a child who meets all the requirements to receive health insurance coverage through your plan. It's pretty clear. Okay. Here's a good one. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It's called HIPAA. So you've probably heard that HIPAA phrase. A 1996 federal law that expanded health insurance coverage for those who lost their jobs or changed jobs. This law also regulated the electronic exchange of healthcare data. In other words, unless a healthcare HIPAA form by you is signed, no one has access to any of your medical records or information regarding you. So the HIPAA really is more of a privacy type issue with regard to your health insurance. Health savings account. There's another one. Health savings account. A health savings account is a medical savings account that gives you tax-free way to save, budget for, and pay for qualified medical expenses. So this is an account that's set up by your employer, and the money is taken out of your pay on a tax-free, pre-tax basis to pay for medical expenses. And the money is put into your HSA account for you to utilize for co-pays, deductibles, prescriptions, things of that nature. And if you don't use it at the end of the year, it can roll over till the next year. This is your personal HSA account. The employer has no access to it. And the fact that it's taken out of your payroll check pre-tax means that your deductible is really less because you're not paying that, again, whatever tax bracket you're in, you're not paying that amount. So we talked about that. Network. Oh, here's a good one. A hospital, healthcare treatment facility, healthcare practitioner, or other provider who is designated as such and has signed an agreement with the insurance company to be part of the network and provide services. So a doctor or any sort of medical facility or medical person becomes part of the network. They sign a contract with the insurance company and they agree to whatever the negotiated rate is, and then they become part of the network, and then you'll find them online or in the network book, and that would be the person that you visit when you have to see an in-network provider. So that's a negotiated rate. They're reduced, so it's less money all around for everybody. Pre-existing condition. If you've had coverage continually for 63 days or less, usually, or most of the time, there is no pre-existing condition that's going to be applicable. And with new federal laws, there is really no pre-existing condition anymore anyway. But if someone has had previous health insurance, the pre-existing condition is not something that you should worry about. And for a lot of my clients out there, pregnancy is not a pre-existing condition. Primary care physician, that's usually a family practitioner, general practitioner, pediatrician. This is someone who you would see for preventative care, to take care of any minor issue. You would go to the primary care physician, as opposed to a specialist, dermatologist, cardiologist, rheumatologist, any of these specialties where they're going to, A, they might get a higher copay, and B, they're going to take care of you just for that particular issue. and depending upon your health plan, you might have a split copay. You might have, say, a 20 for your primary, 40 for the specialist. So you have to check to make sure that the doctor that you're seeing in network is either in a primary care, is in your network as a primary care physician or as a specialist. Pre-certification. Oh, this is interesting. This is the process for confirming eligibility and collection of information prior to inpatient admissions. So, if someone is going into the hospital or getting any sort of major testing, they need to be pre-certified. That means the carriers and the doctors need to speak with each other to confirm that A, you have the coverage, it's active, and that they have all the information necessary, and that you need this particular procedure or testing done. And it's just a very simple step. Usually the doctor's offices automatically do it, but you should also make that you're pre-certified for any major issue or anything outside the doctor's office or any testing. This is what they mean by pre-certification. Qualifying event. Now this has to do with if you're changing any sort of status. Say you get married and you want to add your spouse to the insurance plan. That getting married is your qualifying event and allows you to make that change. Unless you have a qualifying event, you cannot get on or change your health coverage unless you're on open enrollment. So if a health plan renews Jan 1 and you get married on March 3rd, you would be able to enroll your spouse because that's your qualifying event. But if you were married previous and your spouse decided in March that she wanted to join your plan and she hadn't had coverage elsewhere before, you would be unable to because there's no qualifying event. You would have to wait until the following Jan 1 during open enrollment. Qualifying events. Change of status. So that would be births, end of employments, reduction in work hours, divorces, marriages. Those are what would be considered change of employment status also. So if your spouse lost a job and she had coverage there, she could now, that's a qualifying event, she could now join your health plan. That's only a few. There are a lot more. Send me your comments and email me, alan@cgbins.com, and I can give you some overview on some more that I might have forgotten. But hope this was helpful and informative. Visit me on the web, insureyourcompany.com. Call me, 888-242-4675. Email me with your questions or comments. I'm a pretty interesting guy to speak to. Email and